Hey y'all, it's Sim and this is Off the Market. So, today I want to break down what a marketing director does and several tools you want to have to make sure you're having the most efficient day possible. So first things, a lot of people confuse the roles of a marketing director and a social media marketer / manager. I know I did, because the two can really begin to coincide, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So here's when I first knew that I was doing it wrong. I had this client whose company was going from hustle to business, and instead of me staying in my marketing role, I found myself always trying to help with operations, customer service, creative direction, and this is because of the lack of structure in the business. So it affected my capacity to produce effectively in my role. As a result, I was always trying to figure things out for the client, and my time was always compromised, leaving me in a space where deliverables were not being completed on time. So my client was constantly unhappy, deliverables felt like they were piling up daily, and nobody was getting what they wanted. So before we get into any of this, rule number one, a business without a solid operational structure is not ready for a marketing director. And every check is not a good check. Now, Nipsey Hussle said this in an interview one time. Don't be so quick to take a check, because taking money too soon before you know if business is ready for you or not can lead to lawsuits, bad reviews, and then it can stop your bag in the future. You don't want that. Now, marketing directors in any part of a marketing team, we thrive off of operations. Without it, you're always going to find yourself in this made-up role fit to benefit the build-up of the company and not fit to build up you. So, you have 7 to-dos as a marketing director, and none of them include being a personal assistant or a PR. No shade with it, no shade with it. Now, the first and most important part of your position is the marketing strategy. It's your job to know what the company is selling and how to sell each item to reach a certain goal. Your strategy should include the customer you're selling to, the steps you need to win the customer over, and the timeline detailing when and how these steps will be executed. Now, I prefer to provide quarterly plans with monthly initiatives. So if you're planning for July and June, you might as well be planning for June and July. It's pretty much over by then. The way to think of it is that your marketing plan sets the plate for everything else that's going to take place in that business. And it's important that this is done in advance, because your CEO is going to need to know what they need to prepare for, if they have the budget or financial means to be able to prepare for what it is that your plan is requesting. And they also need to get mentally prepared. Say that your plan involves doing like 3 campaigns in a quarter. They need to be mentally prepared for the fact that they have a very heavy quarter that probably doesn't give them a lot of room to rest or do vacations or have free time to themselves. They're going to be very needed. Or maybe your marketing plan doesn't include all of that, and it lets them know, oh, okay, I get some time off, I get some CEO space, I get to kind of allow the business to do what it needs to do, and this is a time for a vacation, this is a time for self-care, because your CEO needs to do that. When you don't have a marketing plan, guess what your CEO is going to do? They're going to make a marketing plan. But 7 times out of 10, if your CEO is not a bred marketer, they're not going to be working within their wheelhouse. It will become stressful for you and for them, because now they're putting out ideas out based on what they've seen others do, not based on strong marketing data that is going to give their company the unique strategy that it needs to survive. And it's also pretty stressful, because they're going to start wondering, well, what am I paying you for? So next, marketing team management. Your job is not to manage the entire team. As a director, you're in charge of the digital marketers, the graphic designer, the ads manager, and maybe the influencers to a certain extent. You are also the communication liaison between what the CEO or the board wants for the brand to express on the front end. So if your CEO likes neutrals, but the graphic designer thinks it would be really cool to try out this new idea, it's your job to say absolutely not. We're going to stick to the neutrals. Moving along. Budgeting. Marketing costs money. I mean, we're literally talking about the market here, right? That money does not come from your fee. So once you create your plan, you need to work with your CEO or your company lead to decide what things in your plan can be funded and what adjustments need to be made in order to have a healthy marketing budget. So this includes campaign funds to influencers or contractor fees for photo shoots. You need to make it make sense for all dollars spent on marketing. So this all needs to be broken down in your plan. Again, remembering that your CEO needs to know what they need to be prepared for. Next, analytics. Your analytics are your proof of concept. They're your blood. Without them, there's no way to prove whether or not your plan is effective. This is not scandal and we're not going by your gut. We need numbers. So by keeping track of your analytics, you can let your customer know which marketing channels are working and which ones need further attention. Also, this is where you work your crystal ball. So a good marketer can predict the future. Based on analytics, you can make forecasts that allow the company to decide how to make smart moves within its means. And of course, you want your clients, customers, or your company to understand the return of investment, the ROI of your marketing. So your return of investment, that all is broken down by your numbers. Now, I know that might have been a lot for some of you. So what I'm basically saying to you is that it is your job to keep up with how you're doing. You can look at your insights on Instagram, TikTok, if you're just doing social media marketing, or if you're using a digital marketing tool like Klaviyo or ConvertKit, you can look there for analytics. But it takes you nothing to screenshot some of these things, copy and paste them, write them down, however you want to do it. But it means the world for your client to know every single week what it is that's happening for them. Because guess what? These companies are how people are putting food on the table, their livelihood, and they want to know, can I have a big Christmas? Can I afford to go on that trip? Can I make this further investment? And they can't know that if they don't know how they're trending. So it's important that you keep them up to date with their analytics so that they can feel comfortable in their investment in you, further investment in the company, and where they stand as a whole in their business. Now, this one maybe should have been number one. Because if you do this, you're going to have the best analytics ever. Research, research, research. This should be included in your marketing plan, but each marketing meeting you should include the research you've been doing on competitive analysis and customer trends. The more you research, the more fresh ideas that you can contribute. And it also makes your client feel like they're aware of what's happening in their industry. Research also helps you to understand how your competitors are performing. We are in a world of social media where there are literally tools out there to show you your competitors' email blasts, SMS, ad strategies, and then you can also just go on their page, see how their customers are responding, see what they're rolling out, see their trends, pay attention to how often they post or don't post. Are they putting out more stories or more posts? There's so much information there. Your CEO is probably CEOing. They don't always have the time to go in and stalk competitors. That's your job. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to these things because it's going to help you to move 10 steps ahead. The only way that you're going to be able to get ahead of the competition is to learn your competition. You ever heard that saying, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer? Keep your enemies in your research and your analytics will come out amazing. Brand management. Stay off of Canva because that's not what I'm talking about. I know your brain immediately went to Pinterest and mood boards, but I'm talking about your direction for this company. Your breakdown of the company profile and customer demographic is what a branding professional will use to begin embodying your brand identity through colors, fonts, and overall aesthetics. So you give them a blueprint to work from so that they can create assets that align with the brand's mission. Keep it simple. Seeing it now? So this means you might have to work with publicists, personal assistants, or even the operation manager from time to time. But unless you are tackling the 7 things above efficiently in a timely manner, you don't have the capacity to take on any more within your role. Get the CEO to do it. See you next time.